Good morning, guys. Welcome back to episode 4, Joe the Drummer, with a special guest, Karl Jean Louis from Haiti. Now, just to give him a brief introduction, Rwanda is one of the largest producers of amateke in Africa. Yet, every drop of glucose that comes from your Fanta, your medicine, your sweets is imported. All of that money leaves Rwanda. And today, I guess it's going to look at how saw the gap and realized that he could close it. From Haiti to the UN to Kigali, my guest, Karl Jean Louis.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. It's a
I-
pleasure to be with your team.
I hope I pronounced the name correctly.
Yes, Karl Jean Louis, you get it right.
Perfect. So, you're Haitian. How does a man from Haiti end up in Rwanda in the early 2000s?
Well, my background is in international development. I manage project sponsored by USAID, the World Bank, UNDP, and in 2000 I decided to start, looking at opportunities in the continent. So my first mission was in Burundi, where I manage a peace reconciliation program. And then later, I found another contract, and it was Rwanda. So I came in Rwanda in 2004 till 2009, and I had the privilege to manage the justice reform program that was sponsored by the Belgium Technical Corporation, or USAID, and other donors, and that gave me the opportunity to discover the country, understand the history, and also contribute to the reforms. During that period, not only there was justice reform, there were a lot of other reform, decentralization.
Yes.
So with that, I've learned a lot from the process and really understand the challenges that the country was facing. And I left Rwanda and then continued my career. Went to Mali, to Burkina Faso, to Senegal. But then I decided since 2022 to look at the business opportunity, and to me, Rwanda was and still one of the best places in Africa where to invest, and so here we are.
And I remember as a kid, I used to come to vacation in Rwanda, but seeing Rwanda back in 2004 versus now, how was that like?
Ooh, days and night.
Day and night, yeah.
Yeah. When I was in 2004, yeah, you can see that the country was on the right track. It's the if I'm looking at Kigali itself, to give you an idea, I remember seeing our hotel was the main and only hotel where you have most of the event.
Yeah, Milkoline, if I'm correct.
Yeah, you have Milkoline and Serena Hotel.
I
I
remember.
think the name was Intercontinental.
Yeah, back then, yes, it was
Back then,
intercontinental.
exactly. And it was it. There was not much going on. And look at right now. So if you're looking at the number of hotels, then does give you an idea. If you're looking at the roads also, you always had the main road from the airport to Kiovu but now, yeah, you see the expansion. Where I live in Kichukiro right now, at that time it was just a forest.
Yeah.
2003. So let's give you an idea of how much things have grown, and it's great to see more development is coming and the transformation of the whole country, not only in Kigali.
Yeah, I know. Like having grown up outside and inside, it always surprises me. Like every 2 to 3 years, everything changes.
Exactly.
And I remember when I left 2015 and I came back 2019, seeing Kigali, I was like, "Is this the same place I was at?"
Exactly. You can see it.
Right?
It's visual. Huh?
Visual, right? And then something I've noticed, because I get to meet a lot of expats in Rwanda, and the ones who stay in Rwanda, there's always like that one thing that made me go, you know what? Let me stay an extra year or two and give back. And I wanted to see what was it that made you want to stay, but come back to do business in Rwanda versus going to somewhere else in Africa.
Well, it's several things. First, my contribution to the justice reform give me a sense of purpose of to continue to contribute to the country one way or the other. With a Haitian background, and if you look at the news in Haiti, it's a country that's been to crisis, to a lot of crisis, and so seeing a country that is coming from a crisis and building itself like Rwanda, it gives us some joy. and a sense of purpose. And being here and choosing a place where you're not only investing, but you want to have an impact. So Rwanda is for us the best place because the infrastructure is there, the institutional infrastructure is there. There's great perspectives in terms of the next 5-10 years. You can see where things are moving, and also we will see the impact of our work. And in all of that, from a business standpoint, we're really looking at stability, which is crucial for any business and even for development. Because, as I mentioned to you, I've been to different countries. When I was in Burundi, it was during the war. And I went to the DRC and worked in Mali and Burkina Faso. So my career has been through country in transition or in a crisis. And so I really cherish stability, especially now I'm in the business sector. I mean, you cannot do business if you cannot plan. So when you find a place that is stable and then the business environment is attractive,
Yes.
then you have everything to go for it and take the chance, because any business is it's risk. But so when you have the stability and the institution, then it kind of de-risk the project, especially in the agro-manufacturing sector.
You're right. And getting onto the topic of agro-manufacturing and DEG, how did that business get started in Haiti, especially? Because you spoke about how there wasn't much stability, but that doesn't mean you didn't want to do something there because it's your home country.
Exactly. Yeah. After 2005, 2006, I've decided to take a break from the development world, and I've then created the largest SMEs association in Haiti, and that's when I met my partner now, my business partner Felix, who is a chemist, an industrial chemist, working in the United States for 35 years for Dow industry. And then he came with the idea of producing vodka using amateke. And I was like, whoa, amateke. And he said yes. And so we did it. He did it. And then we started to sell in country and started to export to the United States. And we were looking to go to Canada. And it works. And if you Google and you go on YouTube, you put vodka Citadel, and you will see the promotion we used to do. There's a lot of TV, radio promotion that we used to do. So the experience, we learned a lot from that, starting from scratch in a very unstable environment. And we've been able to do business for a couple of years. But then after the assassination of the president in Haiti, it was unbearable. Then I decided to start again. I'll continue my career in international development, and Felix went back to the States. So that experience, gave us value added to say, okay, when we go to another country, we know from A to Z
How everything is done.
how everything is done. And so when we came to Rwanda, we found out that the vodka market was not that. I'll say there's a lot of substitute of vodka here.
Yeah, very cheap
Very
product.
cheap products.
Subpar, no standards. I think it's perfectly right to say,
Exactly.
because it's something even the government wants to fight, because it's like no one likes cheap vodka.
Exactly.
I think the only people who like cheap vodka are 18-year-olds who are broke.
Yeah, exactly. So it was not, for us, something that we wanted to explore. And then we wanted to be more strategic and looking at how do we really contribute to the economic development of the country. Then we have decided then to go for the glucose market when we conducted the research and looking at what are the strategic product that the one that is importing. And glucose is one of them. As we mentioned in the introduction, a lot of products that people don't consume, they don't know it's glucose, but it is. If you're looking at the pharmaceutical sector, if you look at the brewer's sector and others, it's a fairly nice market. And that's the reason why we decided, okay, then we will take our experience
Mhm.
into instead of doing the vodka, but then we will use the same structure with natural, of course, with a different chemical mix than to have the glucose. So that's what we've been focusing on.
But before we continue, I think you glazed over the vodka you made
Mhm.
because it was so good. People thought that you could compete with Grey Goose before you had to shut it down. And I think that's a point in pride, something I want you to talk about a little bit more, because to be able to make something like that.
Well, yeah. The reason why I didn't want to insist on it is because what I've learned from that experience when you're getting to to a certain level in the market, then it's the distributor that dictate
Yeah.
your product, because you don't know,
Hmm.
and especially we were seeking and focusing on exporting. We've been always focusing on exporting, which is the same thing we want to do here with the
Hmm.
glucose, because we believe that with my background in development and Felix as a chemist and who have extensive experience in the private sector, we understand that developing countries needs to produce and so they can export, which will have a major impact in the economy. And
Hmm.
that will help you to bring in dollars in the economy. So
Yeah.
all of our focus and currently right now in DNG is to um, make sure one that uh, import less glucose, produce enough, and looking at the EAC to um, to export some glucose. So the vodka we did was very good, and the distributor was like, the demand is high because it is until today the first vodka in the world made with amateke, which have less sugar.
Yeah. So it's a better, pure product.
Very pure product. So you will see then if you go in YouTube, the first bottle was gray, and the distributor said, in that route, you need to have a better, attractive bottle
Yeah.
for that level. So at the time we were going to start, and that's when that we had to stop because of the political turmoil in the country. So we never got there,
Hmm.
and then uh, the rest of the of the story is we are here now. So we gotta move forward. Although we lost everything in the country, now we turned the page and looking forward to be in the country, and we're looking at the continent right now.
Before we continue talking about glucose, I think we also need to talk a little bit about how you can turn amateke into ethanol.
Hmm.
Just because I think it's a whole. What I like about everything you've been educating me about so far is that it's not just a single product that could be used for
Yeah,
consumption,
yeah,
but glucose, ethanol,
a
and
lot.
all the
Yes.
other sub products you can derive from there.
There's about 15 sub-product. It's a matter of having the extensive um, chemical experience to do it.
Hmm.
And that's where my business partner, Felix, that's what he's been doing for Dow Industry, which is
Hmm.
one of the largest chemical companies in the United States. And so we are today able to either do ethanol,
Hmm.
glucose, and other product, and the remaining 13. It is based on the partner or the client's
Hmm.
needs, because different countries have different needs. And once the private sector and all the government where we are decide where to go, then we'll be able to make it happen, because the experience we have collected in Haiti by doing the vodka help
Hmm.
us then to test several aspects of it, and then have the ability to make the change when it's needed.
Hmm.
And so that's the value added we're bringing here, either ethanol or glucose or other product that, because we have a list, we'll be able to make it. The key thing is to have the raw material,
Yes,
and
and
we do.
that's another reason you targeted Rwanda. You said it was Matoke was this. Rwanda is the seventh largest natural
Seven,
producer,
exactly.
right? Without necessarily being a product that Rwanda is known for. It's just we naturally produce that amount,
Naturally, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And before we move on to the glucose again, for the what are some of the other products that can be produced with amatoke?
Oh, I'll send you all this. There's a lot. I said, yeah, there's a lot. There's a
There's a
lot.
lot.
I'll send you all this. A lot.
Okay,
And,
perfect. And
yeah.
what made you want to do it here in Rwanda, not versus the other African countries you had been to in your entire experience working in the developing world?
Well, several things. First, I live here. I live here from 2004, 2009, as I mentioned, and I see the potential of the country. As I mentioned, also stability is very important.
Mhm.
And then looking forward, because if you understand it is an agro-manufacturing project,
Mhm.
um, for the level of time, financial resources we're going to put in it, we're looking at long term.
Mhm.
And in our strategy, well, for your information, um, most African countries do import glucose,
Mhm.
either from Europe, the United States, the Brazil, or India.
Mhm.
And so DEG will be one of the first company to produce it in Africa, because we do have the raw material on the continent.
Mhm.
And so Rwanda will be the proof of concept, because it will be a made in Rwanda product, so that other country can come and see the proof of concept
Mhm.
of what we are doing. And in order to um, ensure that you get to that level, there's a lot of factors that you have to take into consideration.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, stability,
Yes.
infrastructure, because you need water, you need electricity, um, business or friendly business environment, making sure that you do have the support of the government to get there.
Mhm.
And also being strategy, because one of the things that really attract our attention, and one that also, it's the EAC market.
Mhm.
Because if you're looking at the EAC market in large, it's a fairly
Larger
good market to start with.
Mhm.
All the West Africa produce more amateke than the East Africa, but we made the choice to be here.
I'm glad you said about Rwanda, the infrastructure, because what I've noticed is Rwanda, compared to other countries in East Africa,
Mhm.
is the perfect place for a launch pad, because it's
Yes,
small enough to move fast and
exactly.
structured enough to scale. And if it works here, it can work in any other country in Africa. So whenever I see these small businesses, I'm like, don't look at Rwanda as your end goal,
Exactly.
but as a perfect place to test the idea, refine it. And once you've sorted it out, all the kinks, it's a perfect time to go from, okay, fine, we've done the testing and everything.
Exactly.
Now let's go produce 10 times the amount in another country.
You can scale up.
Scaling up becomes much easier.
Much easier, exactly.
But most people, I don't think, really see that yet. It's only the people who notice it most is people who've been fortunate, like us, who've been fortunate enough to live in other parts of Africa,
Exactly.
and then also here.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, the safe streets, the clean, everything works in an orderly fashion,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then there's a keyword you choose, which is a great launchpad. Exactly.
Mhm.
One that is a launchpad, because once you been able to, to start and having all your regulation is set, then going to other places will be less easier.
Now, one thing you had mentioned to me, one of our few meetings that we had, was the amount of money Rwanda spends per year in importing glucose.
Mhm.
Well, what was it? It was around $40 to $50 million a year,
Yeah, about $30 to $40 million a year. Mhm.
and most of that is going to companies outside of Africa.
Yes, yes. One needs to understand that the continent itself
Mhm.
has the culture of importing.
Mhm.
Only now you see, because through the development experience that I had, um, for a couple of years, if not century, it was normal to import everything.
Yeah.
It is great that I think we are in the moment right now where leaders, several leaders uh, throughout the continent realize that it is very important that we start
Manufacturing.
manufacturing, put creating the environment and supporting local production. That's crucial. Now, once you take that route, then it requires another mindset because then you decide to go for competition. And so that's where everything changed. And even in the public administration, the private sector, they need to understand that because it's a shift from importing to exporting. So once you are in the mindset of exporting, then strategically for us, we have the raw material in Rwanda and throughout the continent. Now, the private sector, the leadership, the African leadership needs to understand that they do have the raw material. What we realize is the know-how is not there yet. And that's what DEG is bringing, so we can do the glucose and the other products that we are targeting. And once you do that, then you gotta have policies, because once you're producing, you're gonna reduce the amount that you're importing, and you want to some extent protect your national production versus to importation. So you will need that at one point. And what we are about to do here in Rwanda is to, as I mentioned, show the proof of concept and rapidly, really strategically looking at where to export the excess, where to enter other markets where a country are importing glucose, and we will be very competitive. And the reason why, as I mentioned at the beginning, is because of the infrastructure. Because we've been conducting research in Rwanda since 2022.
Yes.
And so we have several reports that we put out there that we are sharing with Rwanda Agricultural Board and other public institution, private sector, to show that the fact that the roads here are very good, it does have an impact on the business that we are doing. Because our job will be to link up with farmers and bring their matike to our factory. So the road is crucial. Electricity, where we're gonna be in Nyabihu, there are enough electricity for the company, and that's very important. Although we will also looking at solar energy and all of that, but it's crucial to have that, to have these two, and then security, because at any time then you can assure the transportation from point A to point B. So all of that, it's a nice cocktail to be successful, and to show that the African continent can produce its own glucose, starting in Rwanda, and looking at other countries through times. We are talking to other African countries as well. We're very excited in West Africa. I myself and my partner Felix might travel pretty soon to see how to duplicate our effort, because we've learned a lot here. We've been here for 4 years doing research, understanding the landscape, the challenges, the opportunities, and also, as soon as we get started, how best, and how fast we can do to start producing. And that, the lesson we've learned, it's a long process, because the amount of resources in terms of time and money you put it there, it does require a long time to understand the landscape of the country, where there's production, infrastructure, the environment for business, the challenges you're facing, and all of that. So that's the reason why we start to talking with other potential clients in the continent while we're working here. We are very focusing on starting production here this year.
Yeah, and I think the reason it's important, one, is because $30 to $40 million a year is a lot of money.
It is.
And as a business, as an entrepreneur, I understand the impact of that. because you shift from, oh, we import it and then we turn it into Fanta or Biscuit, or how many products are made from glucose will astound most people, to, okay, now we're no longer importing, we're producing everything ourselves.
Yep.
That drives costs down for everyone involved.
Everyone, exactly.
And then when you start exporting, that's where the real money is. So for me, as someone who's in business, I understand the importance of this, but most people, like, you guys don't see how big it could be. And one thing you touched on is the studies you do, is the fact that you're willing to give them out for free so people can. There's all of them, or is it some of the studies that you've done?
All of the studies, in the EG, one of the things we want to do is to share our experience in putting together this enterprise. So we'll have what you call SO3 platform, which is kind of open source that people are used to, so that people can see how we started, where we are, what are the challenges, and because too often it takes one a lot of time to know the basics.
Yeah.
And we want our experience, we want to share it with other Africans to know, at least in the agro-manufacturing, this is the 15, 20, or 30 steps that you need to be aware of if you want to do something else. And so most of our report will be published. It's it's good to know the capacity of the country in terms of production. Now, once you produce, the capacity to collect and to transport and then to transport, so and to transform. And so all these documents will share first with our public partners, especially the Rwanda Agricultural Board, who's been our partner since the beginning and have strong interest in the amateke, because amateke here, the beauty of the project, you do not consume it too much.
Yeah. It's not eating to the natural, like our food stores, basically.
Exactly. It's not like potato or cassava or rice. So the beauty here is the fact that the production, the consumption is very low, and then you have enough that we are targeting. We're gonna tap into and making sure we do not disturb the production for consumption. And so what we're going to offer pretty soon is the farmer will have the opportunity to continue to sell in the market and then sell to DEG, which in itself will have a major impact on their quality of their life, because they will have two sources, two incomes if they want to while selling and producing amateke. And in our case, we will make order on how much we're gonna need per year, so that they know, so they know how much to, they can produce. In any case, at the rate we will go by year 5, we want to double our production here, which means the demand for production will triple, and that will create a major economic impact for those farmers that we have identified in different districts. And of course, the transportation sector, all of that is indirect beneficiary of the industry, and that will have a major economic impact to the economy, because once you are reducing importing, more dollars will stay in the country. People are going to be working, and then you have money going around in the economy, and people will see the impact that the project is going to have in those districts.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about how Rwanda is open to do business, but I think also we need to talk about, like, the realities of being an entrepreneur, some of the difficulties you faced.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's life. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And there's some difficulties you face that you would like to share so people can learn from your mistakes.
Well, I think that, my experience in Haiti or here?
Mostly here, both.
Here, okay. All right. I think as entrepreneurs, and then you are in the same category, I think that the major challenge we are facing is access to information. Especially when you're a foreigner, you come in, you want to invest in a country, you're looking where the door is, right? For anything, where do you start? How do you build an ecosystem um, to support what you are doing? In our case, it's even more difficult, mainly because it's innovative ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Agro-manufacturing is not that popular on the continent. And it is new. It is new because even in Rwanda, people don't realize Rwanda is the seventh producer of Amatika,
Mm-hmm.
and that at all level, the banking system, the public sector, individual never realize that you guys have enough Amatika. So convincing you
Mm-hmm.
that it's reality, it's a process itself.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think we talked about this last time. It was the article about fintech in Nigeria,
Mhm.
and they were talking about half of their struggles was educating people
Exactly.
on how fintech is, how it works, how people in the private and public sector can benefit from it,
Exactly.
why they're pushing. And it's even something I struggle with as well, being on a podcast, is having to educate people on having to educate people, I've realized, is half the battle.
Exactly. You get it right.
Right. And you were just saying as well with here in Rwanda is half the battle was showing them the potential for the business.
Exactly.
Right. And the other one you said was before was getting information.
Sure. Because in order to convince you,
Mm-hmm.
we had to do extensive research
Mm-hmm.
to show anybody we're talking to we understand the landscape. I cannot convince you, say, oh, there's a lot of magic, and you tell me where. I'm like, I think.
Yeah.
I got to be precise and
Mhm.
tell you, this is the district, this is where we were, this is what we've done, and I can send you the report,
Mhm.
right? So then we had, and because we are in the agro-manufacturing sector, because we are professionals, then we have to have arguments,
Mhm.
evidence of what we are saying. And that's what we've been accomplished for the last 4 years.
Mhm.
Whomever we talk to at the highest level of government, private sector, banking system, we always back up what we are saying with documentation and with research. So it's a research-based evidence company. And so once you have that, then that's when you realize that people don't know what you're talking about. And that's when the education process starts. And of course, some believe,
Mhm.
others do not. And then you find out through times,
Yeah.
although people knock their head, say, oh, great. And then you find out the same question is still coming. Are you sure we still have? Based on the report I gave you 3 months ago.
I'm so glad you brought this up because, example, the struggle I've had with the podcast is when I talk to all my friends, mostly like late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, everyone listens to at least one or two podcasts, right? From outside of Rwanda. But when you talk to businesses, they're like, oh no, but you see, yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you just tell them, pull out your phone,
Yeah.
let's see what podcast you're listening to. They'll pull it up. It's like, how many hours is it? 3 hours. So you've been listening to this for 3 hours for the last 3 days? Yes. So what makes you think podcasts can't work in Rwanda?
Yeah.
Right? And half the struggle is always educating and showing people why you're doing what you are doing.
Which is very important, especially we are in a world where communication is everything. And educating people is extremely important. I think you're doing such a great job and keep going. It's just a matter of just give it time and people realize that, oh my gosh, why you started so late?
Yeah.
Once they find information that really useful,
Mhm.
they will be hooked. I mean, look what Oprah did for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you talk to her, it was not easy. People think it was not important. It just take time to
Mhm.
be where she's at, and any other broadcaster and people who's doing podcasts right now. It will take time.
And another thing you talked about as well, privately, was financing for a project like this.
Mhm.
And the reason I want to bring this up is because during the course of our conversation, what you made me realize is that financing in Africa is very, very difficult.
Very difficult.
Let me provide you an example. I said last time was that I talked to a Zambian when I was in Zambia, a Zambian banker, and he straight out said, we would rather finance 500 helixes than finance 3 mining projects with $3 million each who've already done the survey. Because I had friends in Zambia who had mines, and when they would go for financing, it was a pain, a difficulty to be the least.
Yeah.
And once they were able to do that, or they had to find creative ways to be able to do that. But talking to you made me realize is that something else we need to, more entrepreneurs need to talk about here in Rwanda
Mm-hmm.
and in Africa in general, is the financial aspect of any project and being able to get the money and all the different experiences you may have had doing that.
Yes. Again, it's manufacturing is it's a different mindset. It's so easy to say, I'm buying, a ton of soft drink from this country, and this is the market. I know people are gonna drink it within a month, and I'm gonna pay you back. And then all you need is the right provider, the logistics, distributor. You get the money and you pay the bank back. So the risk is, I'm not saying minimal, but it's
Much lower.
much lower. Or I'm gonna build these apartments, can look around, and then this is the market. And I know if the airport is gonna be open, I'm doing my projection, I need 2 million, and in 3, 4, 5 years, I'm gonna be able to reimburse you. Feasible, easy. In the agricultural sector, it's totally different. You gotta have the land, you gotta have the supply chain in place. Not only I say agriculture, but agro-manufacturing, because we're gonna process things. So it's not only you have to produce, but you have to process. And then once you process, then you have to sell. So it's different step. Which in a sense, in different countries, it's, whoa, what is this? Because we don't have the culture. And when I say we don't have the culture, is the banking system. In some cases, you're talking to a bank and you'll realize that the agricultural sector is new. And so the interlocutor doesn't get you because you can see it in the face, like, what the hell?
Yeah, you basically know more about agriculture than they do.
And they do. So I'm pitching for something that you are not exposed to, a sector that you're afraid, because yes, true, agriculture is a high level research sector in every country. That's the reason why in several countries there are policies to support the agricultural sector.
Yes.
Because it's a high risk sector, but very strategic if you can support your agribusiness sector, because then again, that's what we're saying, you'll be able to export when it's coming in, create a lot of jobs. And if you're looking at the Western countries and you look at their policies on how they are formulated policies to protect farmers, it's no joke. And so if the banking system is not supporting this sector and taking the risk, then it is an issue, and that's what we are facing. Because one, we are foreigners, innovative ideas, high risk sector, and then we kind of dig in because we want to process.
Yeah.
So it's not just investing and producing. I think it's the transformation, which is new to the sector, and we understand that, and that's the reason why, after we did the tour, we realized that there's a low appetite for that.
And the risk of taking something as innovative on as you're doing.
It looks good, but then we're looking at international financial institutions who are interested to partner with us, because the level of
the risk appetite. Yes,
exactly.
The risk appetite in Rwanda, I've noticed. I've had friends work in the financial sector.
Yeah.
Is very low.
Yeah.
Two, you're right. You have to spend a lot of time educating people as to what you're doing and why it needs to happen. And then three, the reason why I also wanted to talk about it is because there may be someone watching this home now. And unfortunately, as easy as it is to do business in Rwanda, as open businesses Rwanda is, when it comes to the financing side, you may be forced into a situation where you have to get financing from outside.
Yes, exactly. That's the experience that we especially if you're coming and you want to innovate and
Mhm.
people are not used to this idea. And so it's gonna be like, never know. I mean, most of the financial institutions confirm they're waiting for phase two. So everybody's waiting for the proof of concept to be
Yeah.
there. Because the phase two is much better because they're gonna see the uptake market that we have presented, that to see if the contract are signed, if everything is well laid out, so they can de-risk, but it is what it is. Then that's the reason why we now really focusing on identifying financial partners, which is good and bad. Which is
Mhm.
good because our project, again, as I mentioned, is we want to start in Rwanda and expand to other countries in the continent where they produce amateke. And so having an international financial partner, which is good because as we're moving then from
Yeah.
one country to another, and that we realize that, well, destiny, and sometimes things happen, you don't know why. But already, if we have to go to West Africa and I have an international partner, it will be much easier for me to build a case and say, hey, this is the way we see it. Are you moving in with us?
Mhm.
And so then we're putting more energy on identifying and have a we want to have a diverse portfolio of international financial structure institution
Mhm.
that are who- we are doing our best to really build an African ecosystem. We would love to see the whole supply chain, the whole financial support of DEG is African because they will understand really our reality. But if that cannot happen, then we got to scale up. And that's where we are. And the good news is there's a mix now.
Mhm.
We're talking with fairly high financial institution at the world level, and then also some African institution seems very interested in the agribusiness sector. And so once if we can combine those two, then we are set. We are
Mhm.
set to for what we see coming, to start in one there and then moving to other market that's really interesting to produce their own product in country
Mhm.
using amateke as a raw material.
And is turning Amateke to glucose the main goal for now, or do you have aspirations to expand the agro-manufacturing into other things?
Well, yeah, you got to be focused because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's hard. You cannot do both. We got to be focused. Yes, we are in glucose. Now, the experience will be shared.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure other sector will come and see us because I'll invite you to Nyabihu. You will see how we do the glucose. Then, if you want to do other things, then we'll be able to talk business. Because what is more important is the fact that we have the raw material in country,
Mhm.
and we even did study and looking at closely if there's rupture, for risk mitigation. What do we do? And we're looking at other countries in the region producing twice or three times more amateke than Rwanda, that we can tap into to their production. If something happened, drought and things like that. And so we're looking at different scenarios to producing glucose. But if there's a need, if there's any entrepreneur who wants to produce one of our um, uh, products that we have, we need to talk to them and look at future business opportunities in Rwanda and in the EAC region.
Okay, and for the financing, it's mostly the other thing I wanted to ask is
Mhm.
if as an entrepreneur out there, how do I make the decision of I cannot get the financial support I want here locally?
Mhm.
now it's time to get financial support from outside, possibly?
Well, it's a lot of work, I can tell you that. For example, as a vice president of business development, my job is to do research, looking at a financial institution in the region because they know what's going on in the region, and looking at the continent, and then looking at outside of the continent. So there's three different levels that I'm looking at. And also, what is very important is to, while doing the research, is to make sure these institutions that you are targeting, because there's a lot, so you have to target, strategically target X amount. Do they align with your vision? Do they align with your needs? With the align? So, for example, you may find a well-known, respected institution, financial institution, a venture capital firm who do not invest in East Africa and only invest in West Africa. And that's one. Or who is interested in health or other things, but not in agriculture. So the research has to be aligned to for what you are and what you're looking for. And to some cases, one of the challenges we are facing is the amount of money. If it's not more than 70, 100 million, they are not interested. And we are just starting. And that, again, in the research, you gotta look at exactly for the amount you're looking, or at least the bracket of the amount that you're looking for, so you can get the right partner. So a lot of research. And once you do it and you're in contact with them, that's where all the documentation, all the research, all the formalities, the procedures that you put in place, that's what they're going to ask you. Wow, have you done? And some of them send you a checklist. And so you need to be ready for the checklist so you can say, yeah, I'm done, I'm here. Then that's when you are in the second phase and starting discussing about what type of mechanism you're looking at, what kind of loan, what kind of grant. So it requires a lot of paperwork to be ready, financially ready to speak to different type of financial institutions.
Yeah, because I can imagine something difficult. And one thing I've experienced in Rwanda working on other projects is Rwanda, yes, is perfect for the launchpad or to test your ideas. But sometimes, even to test your ideas, you need to do a 1.0 before you can do a 2.0.
Exactly.
And getting people to buy into 1.0 is.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I'll tell you about some projects I worked on after this.
Yeah, it's tough.
But I think this segues into, I think we're going to talk a little bit about, which is a voice of entrepreneurs. And the reason I want to bring that up is because as someone who's an entrepreneur, there are days where, like we met last time, where I just look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, why am I pushing so hard? Why do I do this? I already have a good job. I can just relax. I can just not do anything productive. But then you look at the opportunity, you're like, you know what? God has given me this opportunity. I cannot give up. Simply it's because it's gone a little bit difficult.
Exactly.
Right? So I wanted you to talk a little bit about VOE, Voices of Entrepreneurs.
Okay. Again, the idea of Voice of Entrepreneurs is to create an ecosystem where small and medium-sized entrepreneurs can be connected to share experience, share information, and see if the ecosystem can grow together. It doesn't make any sense for every new Joe or new Carl coming to go through the same pain if we know how to organize ourselves and share information. So Voice the Entrepreneur is to create a platform where entrepreneurs in different sectors can come, make a presentation about its success, its failure, its needs. And by listening or by meeting that person, you can learn so much that will help you move better, safely, faster. And also, I'm pretty sure you feel it. So often we'll feel we are alone. There's a loneliness because you're fighting, and then it's like nobody wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
Well, in reality, that's not true. In reality, you have I don't know, 100,000 of entrepreneurs out there are feeling the same way, but there's this link that needs to be built, and that's what we want to do. We want to we want to do create this environment where we share information, experiences, and if we do that and we talk with one voice. My previous experience in working with SMEs in Haiti, it shows that when you are a good number of SMEs and you're talking the same voice, then you're gonna start to attract attention. If you're alone, you're just alone. But if you have 150, 200 um, leaders managing small business, it does make a difference because past experience shows that it's simple: access to credit, technical assistance, access to market, communication. Those are the pillar of, I'll say, the needs of SMEs, and of course networking, because they want to know who is doing what in partnership. And so if we can have a good number of SMEs who wants to do this, you will see the impact in about a year and a half, because the decision makers in the financial industry, the government, private sector, international organization, I think they will be very receptive when they know they're talking with such platform that providing information and create a dialogue, a constant dialogue of how would you support this community, these SMEs in different sectors. And for us who's been through what we've been through, we want to share the experience right away. We wanna really be a mentor, be there to say, hey, this is what we've been through. As you mentioned, well, now you know what are the challenges that you are facing at different level. Then we can share some ideas on how to avoid it, and how to get prepared to do much better than what we've done. So that's the whole idea of voice of the entrepreneurs, and hopefully we can get it off the ground and share it with the young people like you who have the energy.
I'm glad you're doing something like this, because there's been so many times in the past where I wanted to give up on a project, but then one of my uncles would be like, okay, forget this, do A, B, C, do this,
There you go.
just a little bit of a tweak, and then everything works.
Yeah.
Or I have a bad day and then I talk to another entrepreneur. I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one having a bad day. Everyone else is having
Exactly. Yeah, it does make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. And because of that, because I'm fortunate enough to have like uncles who I can look up to and ask for advice, I've noticed a lot of my not necessarily my friend group, but young entrepreneurs that I know, they don't have a mentor like I do. Right. And then also there's a lot of mentors out there who want someone to mentee. And that's the thing people don't understand, is that most successful people like to help other people when they, even though most people don't realize it.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Exactly. So as we wrap up, I was going to ask, is there any guests you would like to see on the Joe the Drummer podcast?
Sure. I think it would be good to invite someone in the banking system. Same thing as a microfinance system, to go through this and educate entrepreneurs their reality, because we have our own perspectives, and they have their own reality and perspective. So it's good to listen to people in the banking system and financial system, so they can tell us
what is it like on the financing side,
on the finances, and what they are expecting. How do they see they can, collaborate, educate? Because I think there's the same thing also. They need to educate on how do you get access to credit? What do you need? What are the steps? What kind of program they have? That would be great to have somebody like that in the podcast. Yeah.
Perfect. Karl, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
We'll definitely have to do another episode with the Voice of Entrepreneurs once it's up and running, because I think it's a very interesting idea.
We'll be more than happy to do that.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
your time.
a lot. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.